All right, welcome back to another episode of the Black Bullion Show. So it's been a choppy morning so far for gold and silver as investors engage in more risk-on behavior ahead of the Fed announcement. Now, equities have had a good start to the day as Kodak shares soared after landing a deal with the US government to produce ingredients and generic drugs to combat the Ronies. Now, it's been a bit of a challenging day for gold and silver, and this can be underscored by some new data that I actually found for you guys that I'm actually really excited to share with you very shortly. But first, if you're new to this channel, please hit that big red subscribe button right down below. Also, please hit the like button. Helps to get this economic evangelism right on out there to the masses to bring more people into precious metals. Okay, so let's start with gold and silver. Now, as you can see here, things look extremely choppy for the monetary metals today. Though, taking a step back, we have to acknowledge the fact that we're still in the, high 1950s region here for gold, and we're still here in the, $24 region for silver. It took us a while to cross over $24 in silver. So we got to take a step back and acknowledge that. But still, we had a huge drop for both gold and silver around right before the 10 o'clock hour here. And that happened for both gold and silver. And generally, we have a few variables that can possibly be attributed to price movements like this. But I think we get closer to the reason why by checking closely connected data with the movements of the metals. Here is one of those data points. Now it's the US 10-year Treasury note. Now, the interesting thing about the US 10-year Treasury note is that essentially when more people pile into the US 10-year, that means the yield actually goes down and vice versa. So what you're seeing here is the yield. And right around the 10 a.m. Time, actually right before 10 a.m., as you can see here, 9:49-ish, we hit an inflection point and the yield started to trend upward. So with what I just said, that means people are not piling into the US 10-year Treasury note as they did right around the 7:46 time, as you can see here. So likely investors were focusing on more riskier plays around this time. And if we take a look at this article from CNBC here, we can see why. And I quote, "Stocks rose slightly on Wednesday morning as investors awaited a congressional hearing for big tech CEOs and a press briefing from Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Several stocks, including AMD, moved higher after earnings, while shares of Kodak continued their dramatic rise." Now, here's more on Kodak. Kodak halted again after jumping more than 500%. Shares of Eastman Kodak continued their volatile morning and were halted for the 10th time after climbing 572%. The move has pushed the small cap stock over the $1 billion market cap threshold. The federal government has tapped the company to make ingredients for generic drugs under the Defense Production Act. Now, I don't know if you guys caught that, but Kodak was halted for the 10th time, not the 8th, not the 9th, but the 10th time after exploding 572%. Now, check this out. Kodak surges 1,900% in 2 days after securing a $765 million government loan to make drug ingredients. So overall, it has surged nearly 2,000% in 2 days. So seeing news like this is enough to make Robinhood traders pile in. Now, oh yeah, you know what? That reminds me. I have some new data to share with you guys. Now, This right here is called Robintrack. Now, have you ever wanted to keep an eye on the trading movements of Robinhood? Well, here's your website for that, and it's called Robintrack. And guys, I'm not sponsored by these guys at all. I actually just happened to find this website doing my research for the channel, and they have some cool data on here, even for GLD and SLV. So as you guys may know, the average user on Robinhood is around 27 years old, and the demographic ranges to about 35, and about 25% of traders on there are first-time investors. So let's see how these first-time young investors are exposing themselves to precious metals. So since the start of the Ronies, this is GLD here. Since the start of the Ronies around this mid March time here, GLD went roughly from 15,000 users to now, if you look at to where we are here, around 34,000 users, and that's more than double, pretty much since the beginning of the crisis, so to speak. Now, most of that occurred during the last 9 days, or I should say, most of the largest rate of growth occurred in the last 9 days since July 20th, when we went from 26,000 to 34,000, which is insane, the amount of users who have piled in the last 9 days. Now, back to the beginning of the Ronies, we saw a slow leak here in users when the price dropped, which is normal, nothing too crazy. I'm actually surprised people held on to it for so long, or more accounts were holding on to it during this time period. And then after that period started to end, we start to see a little bit of a slow uptrend here. But remember that, because let's see what happened with SLV during that time. Now, in general, before the Ronies hit, SLV roughly had around close to nearly 8,000 accounts holding it. When things got crazy, investors seemed to actually buy the dip. Look at that. So the price goes down and investor accounts rise along with this. So it looks like they tried to buy the dip at a very fast rate. And when there was actually a slight dip here in late April, same thing. They slowly started buying this dip a little bit. Not as rapid of a rate of growth than what we saw in March, but still there was some growth here. And then, of course, late May, early June hits, and that's when everybody was feeling optimistic about the economy. And of course, similar to gold or GLD, around July 20th, we had roughly around 15,000 users holding SLV. And then in 9 days, it rose to 26,000 users within 9 days, which is insane. Now, that's not all, guys. We can actually compare these representations of safe havens, SLV and GLD. We can compare them with more risk-on equities. This is another feature that Robintrack has. So check this out. Within the last 30 days, SLV was rated number 6 or 66 in popularity, while GLD was rated number 77 in popularity. And this is based off of the amount of accounts holding, the changes of accounts holding the particular asset. So during this period, there are plus 12,000 holders in SLV. For GLD, it was plus 11,000, give or take. Now, check this out. We can get more granular. So that was 30-day period. Here is a 7-day period. Now, remember, I said that a lot of the gains that we saw for both GLD and SLV happened within the last 9 days. So let's see what happened within the last week with GLD. And GLD was number 22. SLV was number 77. So they shot up from where they were in the 30-day period. In a week period, they shot up. Let's take a look at the last 24 hours. So I'm bringing it back, guys, to more recent times. Now, in the last 24 hours, GLD shot up to number 15 in popularity, whereas SLV sank a bit to number 31 in popularity. Now, guys, check this out. We can even get more granular. This was in the last 4 hours. So within the last 4 hours, and again, this is going to change throughout the day today, but within the last 4 hours up until now, it's 11:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. GLD is ranked number 106 in popularity in the last 4 hours. So guys, that is insane if you think about it, because in the last 24 hours, GLD was at number 15. So you mean to tell me within the last 4 hours, it dropped all the way down to 106? Well, bringing it back to what we were talking about earlier, today, at least in the morning, has been a very risk-on day. And it can be shown here as we have a lot of these Robinhood traders. You know, they are younger, but there are a lot of them who are not focused as much on GLD as they are on other assets. Now, can you guess who they're focused on right now? And if you guessed Kodak, then you were correct. Kodak is definitely the the security that a lot of people are focused on right now. Let's go to the last 1 to 2 hours. Now, this is as granular as we can get, guys. So GLD dropped to 113. It was at 106 before. In the last 4 hours, it dropped to 113. And SLV is at 115. So again, it just keeps trending down in popularity here for some of these Robinhood investors. Now, guys, this has essentially been your Wednesday. I know I didn't cover the Fed announcement, but I actually have a work meeting for my 9 to 5 around that time. So that sucks for me. But hey, we can talk about the Fed announcement a little bit more in the comment section later. But thanks again, guys, for checking out this video. We have 2 more videos out today, 1 an hour from now, 1 2 hours from now. So be sure to subscribe below so you can be alerted by that and check those out. Also, please give the video a like. Thanks again. It's Black Bullion.